What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. Man, there's been kind of a subject going around the sports world, man. Last night the Pistons played the Mavericks. I want to say his name right because I always get it wrong. Trajan Langdon came out and he gave kind of an interview, and he said that the referee, when he came into the game, the referee said something that let him know that the referee was biased. Um, then he felt like the game was being called biased. Asar Thompson got thrown out the game. Um, there was some funny style texts and calls during this game, but that's not just basketball. I've been hearing that around. I mean, almost all the sports, man, almost everywhere. The Lions have been getting some funny calls. I think we've been mentioning here and there how the Lions have been getting some not, nothing that you would say for sure seals the outcome of the game, but it changes the trajectory of the game. And it just hasn't been Detroit's team. It's been just sports in general, man. Um, And the question that everybody's asking is like the sports books and Las Vegas and all the lines and the power trajectories, are they ruining sports?
Are they ruining sports?
Like, is sports real anymore?
um, Sports is not real, but sports hasn't been real before it was legal to gamble because you can still always gamble in Vegas, and you have bookies and everything. So I've always maintained that referees are put in place for two reasons. One is to do their job and officiate the game. And the second reason is to make sure that the game stays on course for whatever that spread is.
But back in the day, referees. It seems like back in the day, referees used to get, not every call was right, but lately there's been a more of a discrepancy, more of a unwillingness to, if that's what's going on, make it vague.
It's hard to say because I always say, back back in the day, was it not going on, or was it just no social media where everybody was seeing the same thing? If you don't have all these people saying the same thing, are people just overlooking it and just kind of glossing over it? That I think that might be the case, but at the same time, to your point, sports gambling has, I don't know what, quadrupled,
Right,
quintupled.
skyrocketed.
Yeah, um, so maybe it is a shift to to favor the books, but I mean, is it ruining sports? There's plenty of things that's ruining sports. Officiating, it's high on some people. It's high on a lot of people's list, but the I don't know, man. Even before the sports books, right? Like I could watch an NBA Finals with LeBron James, and I felt like the referees were favoring LeBron James, and that had nothing to do with the books. It was just that's just what it was. That's what the league does. You could actually go and look online and find a clip of LeBron James making contact with a referee in like a 2 minute period. He makes contact with a referee several times in a 2 minute period. Nothing happens. Matter of fact, the person LeBron was complaining about ends up getting ejected, Dylan Brooks. And then you see, like you said, Asari Thompson go out there and he bumps the referee as he's trying to explain something to him, and that one bump got him ejected. Cade Cunningham got ejected. Uh, uh, the idea that the fix was in though for whatever reason on a random game on a Thursday night against the Pistons. I don't know why they felt the need to, but yeah, if you told me that game was fixed for sports betting, hey, I'm not gonna argue with you. Like I said, man, the money has skyrocketed, so it wouldn't surprise me.
So and speaking of basketball, to your point, like you said with LeBron James, so basketball a long time ago, I feel like it lost a lot of credibility with me with the things that I saw going on around the league, and so I guess what I'm asking, like, so when I found that out, and it wasn't just me because I feel like the interest in basketball has lowered dramatically. It's starting to come back up. The people are starting to gain interest in it again, but for the longest, man, basketball lost interest in basketball. How can I say? It lost a lot of ratings. It's not the sport that it used to be. People seem less interested in it than they used to be, with all the shenanigans going around the league. And does that transfer over to other sports when I say ruining it? Because like I remember baseball used to be the number one sport at one time, and all the stuff going on around baseball made people made it drop from the number one sport to like the number three or the number four sport. So I guess that's my question.
I guess my thing would be a two-part thing. One, I would say like if we went back 10 years, you know, I don't know where that would land us, but you know, I think back to the New Orleans Saints versus the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't remember if it was called a pass interference and it wasn't a pass interference, or it wasn't called and it was, but whatever it was, they wanted to make pass interference reviewable. Didn't happen. It was an NFC semifinal, whatever that would be, and I think the Minnesota Vikings ended up winning that game. And New Orleans lobbied all this stuff, and they wanted to sue the league, and so I mean, controversial calls and poor calls for that part. People have been talking about getting these NFL referees full time, making them full time, which is something I'm in favor of. But
Yeah.
I think it's just officiating is just always going to be flawed, and even
Or I've also heard penalties for like bad calls, like fines or something for not officiating the correct way.
yeah, penalties and relegating people, drop them down. Well, you are the worst graded official, so you don't get to officiate these big games, or making them
Right.
stand in front of a podium after the game. So many ideas, and I'm not opposed to any of them, but just the idea that referees going to be flawed. I think that's just part of the game. I would my take on it would be, again, you know, the age we live in is so beneficial and harmful at the same time. Like we literally live in the Matrix. In the Matrix, they they downloaded into his brain, and I know
Right.
kung fu. Like, seriously, and that's how it is now. Like the other day, oh man, my toilet is doing something funny. Back in the day, you had to call a plumber, blah 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 blah. Nope. Now you just go on YouTube, type it in, boom boom boom. Now I know how to do. I know, I'm not certified, but hey, I know a little bit about plumbing now. In 5 minutes. So so that's
It's
the
all on
beneficial,
YouTube.
all on YouTube. So that's the beneficial part of being in society today. But then on the flip side, the harmful factor is that everybody's watching, everybody has an opinion, and eventually all of these leagues and all of these entities, they take listen, and they start letting social media dictate the narrative. Football, I mean, it is what it is, man. Football was born and bred on being a violent sport, and year after year it becomes less violent. Basketball, oh, we want more points. We want more points. Year after year, they remove more and more defense. You want to even take it to WWE. WWE was always sports entertainment. It was fake, but it was real, but it was fake. They they released now they done released a whole Netflix documentary miniseries taking you behind the curtain, telling you we gonna flat out tell you it's fake. But here, this is what it looks like when we putting it all together. Like, and all of this is for social media and money. So I try not to get caught up in the officiating. Like I said, I always just at the end of the day, I just know that they're there to make sure that that game stays along the lines of that betting line.
Wow. Well, I mean, hopefully, I would think that I would say that football is the maybe the second popularist sport in the world right now. Nothing is beating soccer in globally, but the NFL is trying to make American football a global sport. That's the whole reason we have all these international games, and they've added more and more to the schedule uh, every year. And I've heard some people say that it's stupid. They don't understand the international thing. It comes on early in the morning. What's the point of it? And yeah, it might seem stupid to us, you know what I'm saying? But it's like what you're saying. It's money, you know what I'm saying? If they can get football to catch on globally, that is a major step for the NFL. But I love football, and football is my favorite sport. So I'm just concerned that if the officiating isn't fair, and the officiating is to make some guideline or some narrative um or some betting spread, then it just ruins the credibility of the game. And just to your point, like the more they take things away, just like they took the defense out of basketball, and it's not as good of a sport as it was anymore. And they nerfing football more and more. If you take the credibility too, doesn't that just kind of kill the sport?
I would say yes, but at the same time, you have these. They're not. They're the opposite of gatekeepers. They're these new age people, and they're all on social media. So the other day, got on Twitter, and Penny Hardaway. They had a quote from Penny Hardaway, and Penny Hardaway joined the long list of people that said, "I don't enjoy watching the NBA today." He said, especially being a college coach, we are very focused on the details of basketball and the actual sport itself, and it's not fun to watch guys just shooting threes and nobody takes layups anymore. So I
Right.
don't care for basketball. And anytime you see anything like that, rest assured, you go to the comments and you'll have a gang of people calling him an old head, telling them, he get off my lawn, guy. Uh, Nobody cares about the old basketball anymore. So like these people are the spokespeople for the new age of sports, and they'll always be like, oh well, it's better now. They're more athletic, and nobody could the people this average player could go back in time and dominate in that era. So it's
Yeah, that's the LeBron versus Jordan debate. Like
yeah,
all the new heads love LeBron. He's the greatest of all time. All the older folks say, "Well, you never seen or Jordan play in that era, or LeBron won last in that era." And both. I think KG and some of the newer ballers have had that conversation. But yeah, that's a ongoing debate.
it's the same thing you said last week. That we both kind of said, and no disrespect to Jahmyr Gibbs, but to compare Jahmyr Gibbs to Barry right now at this point in time, it's not really comparable.
Right.
Jameer Gibbs is a fantastic player. He's one of the best players in football today. But like, if the hole's not there, Jameer Gibbs might get you 5 more yards though. He might he might break a tackle. He might juke a dude. He gonna get you about 5 more yards. He's a great player. But I mean, Barry would juke like 4 or 5 guys and take it to the house.
Yeah.
On a bi-weekly or weekly basis. So it's not even close. But you got young people who just see Jameer Gibbs and like you said, they see the Barry highlights and they just say, oh yeah, these players are comparable. And Jameer Gibbs might be. And look at the stats. That's another thing.
Barry only seeing Barry's highlights is knowing Barry out of context.
And they'll hide behind the stats and to the whole point. That's what that's what today's sports are about. Today's sports are about getting these stats up. This guy has the biggest streak, or this person's put up the most yards. And when you take away the defense, then you're gonna inflate the numbers, and and then you just ignore history.
But the defense is the heart of every game, and that's why basketball has no soul now.
You can argue on me, but the only thing I'll say is the Pistons are top 5 in defensive effort on an average night. Nobody's playing team defense harder than the Detroit Pistons. You might obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder, but the Pistons are without a doubt top 5 in the league in defense, and that's why the league doesn't like them. The league didn't like the Golden State Pistons for playing defense, and they don't like these Pistons for playing defense.
But the Pistons are actually fun to watch. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because of the defense. But the Thunder were kind of fun to watch. But I'm starting to hear people complain about the Thunder now because you can't even touch how about to call him JSN? JSN. SGA. You can't even touch him.
No, his nickname is the Foul Merchant. That's what that guy does. I don't understand. I really don't understand it. I really don't. What makes this guy so special? Because there are other people out here replicating the things that he does, but they just don't get the call. So, somebody asked me last year who I thought was going to win, and I said that it's got to be in the Adam Silver's, script that the OKC Thunder are the next up and coming team. And he said, well, no, I don't know about that. And I'm like, how else can you explain the reason he gets the foul calls that he gets and nothing's done about it?
It's a narrative. They pick a guy after Jordan left. It feels like they've always picked a guy. Jordan left. They tried to make it Kobe. Then LeBron hit the league, and they was like, "This is our face. This is our face. We're going to do everything in our power to make this guy the guy." And now that LeBron is retiring, 25 years later, you need a new face. You need a new guy. You know what I'm saying? And as of right now, I mean, who other could be the face other than SGN? SGA.
For yeah, for all the One Piece fans out there, this is the new generation. A ragtag group of random stars, and nobody really separating themselves from the pack at this point. We got one in Cade Cunningham. Obviously, you got Luka Doncic. Joker is not going anywhere. SGA. But Jalen Brunson is on the rise. Jason Tatum is always in the fold. So these guys are all in the mix. Anthony Edwards, of course. But nobody's really pulled away and become that dominant force. And at this pace, the way the Thunder are set up, man, they are set up to succeed. They get the calls. They got all the draft picks. Like there's a possibility that they could have a top 5 pick in this year's upcoming draft after winning the championship. So the Thunder are set up to succeed, and I don't know if anybody's going to really pull themselves away. But like I said, right now the Thunder are driving that boat. So SGA is in the lead.
Well, I'll just end about this, man. I really hope all of sports. It seems to be a overlapping thing in all the sports with the referees. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's complaining, and if social media is such a big impact on what the leads are listening to, I hope that they're listening. That we don't want the credibility of the game, of any game, compromised, and that they need to do something to fix it. And I'll just end my questioning of what's going on with that there, and hope that they fix it.
You get no argument out of me. Speaking of being frustrated, I sent you a couple texts. And so what better time to answer than now? Jared Goff. We got a lot of feedback on our last video, so I was happy to see that. But I've been talking about a lot of the comments were about Jared Goff, and I just been talking about Jared Goff a lot this past week. But Jared Goff does a weekly interview on 97.1 The Ticket, and first let me start off by saying Jared Goff as an individual outside of football, he's not really the type of guy that I would care to hang out with.
Why not, man? Jared seems like he's cool.
Nah, he don't. He don't seem like he's cool. Jared Goff is actually. This is how I always like when people ask me about people. This is how I always explain it. If you are the same, I don't care if you are an asshole. I don't care if you are a funny person, if you're a serious person, if you're weird, all these things. I don't care what your characteristic is as a person. As long as if I talk to you today and that's who you are, and then I talk to you tomorrow and that's who you are, and I talk to you next week and that's the same person you are, I could get along with I could get along with you. It's just point blank period. Because you're the same every time I talk to you, you're the same person. The people that I don't get along with are the people who today you joking with me, tomorrow you talking crazy to me. I don't vibe with those people. And I pretty much vibe with everybody. But Jared Goff seems like one of those types. Like he'll come on and do his interview, and some weeks he's joking, and in other weeks he's like got this wall up and like passive aggressive, and I'm like, man, this guy, and sometimes it just comes off as like California.
Well, he is from California.
He is from California, so I'll leave it at that. But they asked him this week. They said, we got a lot of feedback this week about fans who pretty much think that you guys aren't going to do it this season. What would you say to those fans to reinstill confidence? Jared Goff's answer was, I don't need to reinstill confidence. The fact that people say that kind of pisses me off. And we're going to go out there and we're going to play and we're going to get a win and, hopefully prove everybody wrong. He did say that they'll be at home in front of their fans. And that was pretty much the end of the answer. So a lot of people are trying to people interpreted that a different way. How would you say people are basically debating? Was he taking a shot at fans, or was he? I got to be honest. I'm in the camp that he wasn't taking a shot at fans, but he was pretty much saying, I don't really give a damn what the fans think. I'm gonna go out there and do what I do.
Yeah, I don't think he was taking a shot at fans, and honestly, I'm confused at what people wanted from Jared Goff. Like, I kind of got to take Jared Goff's side on this one because if somebody asks you a question about how the fans are feeling about your chances of making it to the playoffs, or what your success is going to be as a player, you can't be worried about what the fans are thinking. And what did the fans expect them to say? Oh, they should be right to be scared that the season might be over. That yeah, we pretty fucked up. Yeah, we yeah, and we might not make it. You know what I'm saying? He's a player. Of course, he has to have that confidence. He has to be pissed off that people think that they don't have the chance to make it. He's supposed to use that. I want him to use that fuel and take it into the next game. And people are doubting me, and people saying that I can't do it. But as a fan, that is the exact response that I would expect him to have. So the fact that people are pissed off that he's pissed off, I personally don't get it.
Um, yeah, no, I heard it, and I'm with you. I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I would say the only thing was the people who are saying that nah, yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Basically, if he goes out there, at the end of the day, we all know if he goes out there and they win on Sunday, this is a non-story.
Yeah,
And, and vice versa. If they lose, then it picks up a little bit more steam.
right.
All right.
The people are going to go with the narrative of whatever it is, and seeing as we lost last week, people are hard on any comments that any Lions player made. If we had won last week and Jerry had said that, they'd be like, "Fuck yeah, Jerry," you know what I'm saying? Talk your shit.
All right. I got could do a little rapid fire session. The season is coming to a close. We don't know how it's going to end, but we have a few players who may or may not be playing their last games with the Lions this year. I'm just gonna go down the list real quick. First player in the news this week, Alex Anzalone. They asked him about it. He said they talked about how next week might be his last week playing at home at Ford Field. They asked him if he wanted to come back. He said, "Yeah, I want to come back." I told the team before this season that I wanted to come back. They said that at that point in time, it just wasn't in the cards. But the door isn't closed, and hopefully we can make something happen. So I'm asking you: is Alex Anzalone coming back next year?
I think that Alex Anzalone is coming back next year. I didn't think so at the beginning of the season, but the way things turned out, I think that the season didn't turn out the way the franchise expected it to turn out. Um, the defense didn't come out the way they expected it to. I feel like we were gonna have a better, uh, a, a higher ranked defense than what we're gonna have. And as far as the season's gone, and a lot of it is due to injury. A lot of it is due to injury on the secondary and some disappointment on the front line. But I feel like our linebacker core has been the best unit almost in football. Um, our linebacker core has been the best unit in football this year. So with that being said, it's harder to get rid of a guy that is playing so well. And even though he's playing well last year, he doubled down on it. And I feel like the Lions linebacker core, like I've said, might be the best in football. And then you go along with some of the losses that we had to our secondary. You don't know who's returning. You might have to use some of the picks or some trade draft to replace that. So the people that you have that you know are solid, you're gonna have to bring those guys back. And I think Alex Anzalone has proven that he's one of those guys that You can't even if you were planning on moving forward from him right now. He's made his case that you can't afford to move on from him right now.
I am in agreement with you. This is a prime opportunity for Brad Holmes to re-sign somebody who he knows, opposed to going out and getting somebody that he doesn't know. So I don't know why he would consider passing up on re-signing them. The next three players, it's not a question will they be here next year. It's more of a question will they end next year in a Lions uniform. First guy is David Montgomery. Dan Campbell got up on the podium. They asked him the same question that they've kind of been asking him all season, and that is, how do you get David Montgomery more involved? Dan gave a very interesting answer to me. It was a lot of, it was almost like sympathy or like it was like he couldn't say what he wanted to say, but it was pretty much David Montgomery is a pro. Every time we call on him, he's ready. We love David. And if he was sitting down with Dan, I feel like if the media wasn't in front of him, he would have came through with a big butt. But but he cut it short. So David Montgomery, I told you, scored the last touchdown of that game against the Rams. And as soon as he got in the end zone, man, there's no celebration. There was no high fives. He just literally ran back to the sideline. He did it so fast. I honestly thought he was hurt. But I don't know, man. I don't know if David Montgomery sees himself finishing the year next year in a Lions uniform. What do you say?
I think it's a lot of validity to that. For some reason, well, I ain't gonna say some reason. I think that the problem. Honestly, let me put it like this. Whether they move on from David Montgomery or keep David Montgomery, I think it all depends on what coordinator they bring in next year. I think Johnny Morton was not a big fan of David Montgomery. Ever since Johnny Montgomery took over as the offensive coordinator, he in his mind said, Gibbs is the guy, and I'm going to slowly phase out David Montgomery, and that's what he did. And then Dan took over the play calling, and we've seen a little bit more of Montgomery, but not that much. But Dan is not a Dan. Why I like the play calls that Dan has been making, he's not the creative type. He's not going to create any plays. He's not going to draw up anything for David Montgomery. So the higher you make at the offensive coordinator, whatever direction he's planning on taking the offense next year, I think him, Dan, and Brad are going to have to get together and decide what kind of offense they want moving forward, and decide if they just want to solely put the full brunt of the weight on Jameer's shoulder, or if they want to keep the Sonic and Knuckles tandem that they had last year that was so successful. I personally think that the Sonic and Knuckles tandem was a better look. You know what I'm saying? Not only did it preserve Jameer and not wear him down like some running backs can get done over the years, but the offense just looked better. You know what I'm saying? There are certain David Montgomery doesn't like to be called a power back, but there are certain things that David does better than Montgomery. I mean, than Jameer, and there are certain things that Jameer does better than David that I think complement each other. But they're both uh, able to step in each other's lane, if that makes any sense. And it just works out perfectly. And I feel like they got away from that, and then you get away from what works, and then you're like, I wonder why the running game is not working.
Yeah, right now it looks like more Sonic and Tails than Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Gut feeling. Gut feeling, is David Montgomery finishing next year as a Lion?
Gut feeling. Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, again, I'm in agreement. I can definitely see him as a trade candidate at some point before the end of next year.
To,
Next,
to speak what you said, the last person that scored a touchdown and ran straight back to the sideline and didn't give any celebrate with the team was Swift.
I can definitely see a parallel between those two players. Not personality, but the way that they're presenting themselves right now.
Oh, one more quick question about David. What is his contract next year? Does he got extended, right? Was that the end of his contract next year, or was it not guaranteed for next year? What was his contract for next year?
I'm pretty sure this year would have been his last year, but he got extended for 2 or 3 more years. So next year might be his last year. It might be his last year next year, if not the following year.
Okay.
Next up, Taylor Decker. I'm pretty sure that was last week they asked him about retirement. He said it's definitely something that he's going to sit down and think about. Right now is not the time to talk about it during the season. He still wants to finish the season. Is Taylor Decker finishing the season next year as a Lion?
I don't think Taylor Decker makes it to next season. I think Taylor Decker is going to retire after this season. So whatever happens this season, he might put some thought into it, but I don't think Taylor Decker is coming back. He played this whole entire season hurt, and he hasn't really been complaining about it. But you knew he was hurt at the beginning of the season, and he kind of let it be known then. And as the season went on, he kind of just stopped complaining about it and just started rolling with it. But I know he's still hurt, and I know he's out there playing in pain every day. So yeah, I think just like Frank Ragnar, man, I think his body is giving up on him. He's the last of the old guard left. So with Frank Ragnar retiring last year, I think he's going to take his cue from him and just call it what it is.
I could see it happening, but if I had to go gut feeling, I think give him an off season and assuming the team makes some type of sizable off season moves, I think he guts it out for one more year. If I had to say,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm not so sure. He was complaining about how much pain he's in. So I mean, but I can't say maybe linemen are different, man. So what I'm saying, they can take a lot of pain. So maybe.
and then a very critical key piece to the defense. Um, One of the foundation pieces of this defense. Will Marcus Davenport finish next year as a Detroit Lion?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Devin Market, he might get fired as soon as they snap the last snap of the season. Soon as the last snap is snapped, they might be like, "Oh man, that was a good game." Yeah, Davenport, you fired.
All right, we got betted up coming up. I got one more bonus question. Penei Sewell talked and gave the he pretty much came out and said, if I read it correctly, I kind of glossed over it, but I'm pretty sure the gist of what he was saying was it's bullshit that they got to play on Christmas. Thoughts on Christmas games?
I can understand that. Nobody likes to work on Christmas. I think it's a big money maker for the NFL, and for us, it might be nice. You got something to watch on Christmas, but do I need a Christmas game? Not particularly. It's Christmas, man. If the players want to go home, let them go home. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, like I said, nobody likes to work on Christmas, but if uh if they took the Christmas game off, I wouldn't miss it. You could do a game on Christmas Eve or the day after Christmas, and I would get the same feeling I did with watching it on Christmas. The only reason the NFL is doing it is because the NBA used to do a doubleheader on Christmas, and I think they like, well, if the NBA can do it and they're getting money from it, why not us? And yeah, that's pretty much what I got on it. Oh,
Uh,
and before you go on to bet it up, two more people. Um, Kirby Joseph, I think, will not play unless we make the playoffs. If we make the playoffs, I think that he will suck it up and give it a go and play as much as he can in the playoffs, and then have surgery in the off season. And the same for Brian Branch. I think Brian Branch will have his surgery as soon as possible, rehab as much as he can, and be back in the middle of the season for next season.
uh, the to the Christmas question, I don't need that game. I'm with you. The NBA still does their Christmas Day games. That's the NBA's thing, and they've ramped it up. It's a quadruple header.
Oh wow!
It's games all day. I think they start at like noon, and then you got your noon game, your 3 o'clock game, 7 o'clock game, and 10 o'clock game. Um, Kirby Joseph, that's a good question. I don't know. By all accounts, Kirby Joseph, I don't want to say he might as well retire, but um, all indications are that this is never going to go away or get better. They asked him about surgery. He said surgery isn't really it can do something, but it's not a fix. To which they asked him a follow up to that, and that's when he responded with his famous "It's in God's hands." Man, that's a tough question. Does to Kirby? Yeah, I'm with you. Kirby does come back next year. I don't know how well he plays, and I don't know what happens after he gives it a go next year. I don't think we'll see Kirby again this year. I'd be honestly be surprised if we do.
Well, what about Brian Branch? You think he gonna recover from the Achilles?
I think he'll. I think we'll see. I think Brian Branch finishes next year as a Lion without a doubt.
Think he'll be
I,
the same player?
um, I think he'll be what we're seeing now, and what we're
Hmm.
seeing, what we were seeing was Brian Branch wasn't as impactful as he's been his first couple years in the league. He was still out there making plays, and he was still out there doing his thing, but he wasn't the Brian Branch that we had seen or that we had grown accustomed to. So I think this would have been a one-off year in terms of his development and his performance. But now going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if we can kind of expect this to be the norm going forward.
Hmm.
All right, bet it up. Week 15. I'm so bad with these weeks. I believe it was week 15.
I think
Uh,
so.
yeah.
16, I think.
So we could just go ahead and get into it. The first game of the week was Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons going to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was at home and they were given 4.5.
What the
I
hell
went
is going on with Tampa Bay?
I went full Bizarro this week. So which forced me to take Atlanta. Atlanta turned the ball over. Oh man, it was I'm not turning it over. They did turn it over, but Atlanta had like I believe it was 19 penalties in that game, which amounted to like 125 yards
Wow.
of free yardage. And Tampa Bay, I think Tampa Bay was
Still.
up. They were up 14 points in the second half at some point, and yeah, they still found a way to find a way to lose and forced I can't think of his name right now, but forced the head coach to get up on that podium and
Top balls.
Todd Bowles. They forced Todd Bowles to go out there and break every Christian
And
commandment, every Christian
show some
commandment.
emotion.
Huh?
Show some emotion.
he used emotional words. It was still Todd Bowles, so his delivery was still the same, but you felt it, man. He was pissed.
Yeah, dog. I felt like knowing Ty Bowles, I felt the anger through the string, but looking at him, he looked regular. Yeah, man, that's got to be a travesty, man. There's no way First off, it's Atlanta. You're Tampa Bay. You are on the trajectory to be one of the best teams in the NFL this year, and you got a couple injuries, and it just felt like the team just gave up on everything. The only person that was out there giving it his all and willing to take team to some wins was Baker Mayfield, and then Baker Mayfield got hurt, and now it's just a full shit show. So I don't know what Tampa Bay has going on. They have three more games to get it together to reconcile and save their season. If any indication of that interview that Ty Bowles gave is what the energy he's gonna bring into the facility these next couple of practice sessions, then we should see a spark out of Tampa Bay in the next couple of weeks.
Buccaneers had 4 turnovers. I keep saying turnovers. Buccaneers had 4 penalties for 25 yards. Atlanta had 19 penalties for 125 yards.
That's crazy. Go back to the refs.
No, there's no reason Atlanta should have won that game, but they did, and that's who I picked. So I will take that victory. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. I took the Raiders. You took the Raiders. Eagles shut out the Las Vegas Raiders 31-0.
I never bet on the Raiders.
That is sound advice. The Washington Commanders traveled to New York to take on the Giants. You took the Giants. I took Washington. Washington ends up winning that game 29-21. Jackson Dart did play in that game. I don't know. Commanders just retired of losing, and Jaden Daniels sucks.
I don't think Jaden Daniels sucks, man. I think he got an off year.
I normally would have taken Buffalo, but I was committed to my Bizarro. So I went with New England. Buffalo traveled to New England to take on the Patriots. You took Buffalo. Patriots had, I believe it was like a 21-0 lead at some point. And Josh Allen went back to the locker room and got his cape, and that was the end of
that. Remember when Josh Allen showed up at the halftime and won the Bud Bowl?
Josh Allen making quite the case for MVP. If Stafford doesn't do just enough to win that with these last couple of games. Who Stafford did have a great night last night statistically.
Yeah, he did.
The New York Jets traveled to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Jaguars at home, giving 11.5. You took the Jets. I took Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence had what I would call a career day. Let me see if I can find it here. Where is this? Jacksonville. There it is. The Jets. The Jets are not doing well this season. I saw a tweet. I don't know the validity of it. It was from an NFL rumor account. So, it's just a rumor. Trevor Lawrence threw for 5 touchdowns and ran for 1. Total 6 touchdowns. Did his best Josh Allen impersonation. 330 yards through the air. No interceptions. And 51 yards on the ground. Oh, my God. But the question was, will Aaron Glenn be? Oh no, they said that people are talking about Aaron Glenn being fired after 1 year.
I thought that Aaron Glenn gets fired after 1 year. I mean, you gave the man impossible odds to work with. The Jets don't have a quarterback at this time. They went from Justin Jefferson to Tyrod Taylor to name unknown. Right in name here, playing quarterback at the thing. And not only that, they gave away their best defensive players, and which I thought they should have got some picks for Bryce Hall, but they didn't do that. Apparently, he's their franchise, so they're sticking with him. But I mean, you essentially gave away most of, I mean, a majority of your players. I don't know. Maybe they'll continue to start with the rebuild in the off season and get rid of Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall and see if they can get some people enough for them, and then maybe you can get all Aaron Glenn's guys in there, and he can start from scratch the way they should have from the beginning. But I don't think. You put the odds against them, man, and essentially the team that you thought was going to be this powerhouse team setup, you tore it apart in the middle of the season. So I think that buys them more time.
Devil's advocate would say that he had a ready-made quarterback in-house, but they decided to go a different direction. Aaron Rodgers is not some MVP, but he definitely can get you more than was it 3 wins they have? Yeah, 3 wins they have. To your point,
yeah. Well, to his credit, Aaron Rodgers had a subpar season the year before he came in. Um, uh, Justin Fields was played 6 games. He won 4 out of those 6 games, and this year Aaron Rodgers still hasn't looked the best.
To your point, New York sent out some guy named Brady Cook who was threw 1 touchdown and had 3 interceptions and didn't go so well for him. The Jets are so desperate for quarterback, they sign Hendon Hooker to their practice squad.
Hey, this is the beginning, man. Hey, Riley Cap song, man. This is the beginning of a legacy.
From the beginning
Gold loading.
From the beginning of a legacy to what some are speculating may be the end of a legacy. I'm not in that camp, but the talks are out there. The LA Chargers traveled to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. We were both on the Chiefs -4.5. LA Chargers, not only did LA Chargers win, they literally and figuratively ended Patrick Mahomes' season. Torn ACL, Chiefs eliminated from playoffs.
Yeah, man. I stick with my pick on that one. I was watching that game and Kansas City. It felt like I turned it on right at the moment that like 2 plays before Mahomes got hurt, and I felt the energy from the Chiefs. It felt like they had some of their old mojo back. I could just feel them getting ready to drive downfield and take the lead in that game and do what they usually do. And then I look over and I see Pat Mahomes rolling around on the ground, and I'm like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, so the Chiefs got definitely some work to do to get back to where they were. They got to invest in a receiver and a tight end.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're definitely gonna have to invest in a tight end because speaking of people who will be in a uniform next year, do you think Travis Kelce is a Chief next year?
Yeah,
Or
I do.
is this,
I'd have to see what his contract is, but I would assume that he just plays out to the end of his contract. I don't think he's going to retire next year. That's why they need to take him out of the driver's seat and put him in the back seat. And he'll be fine as a backseat driver.
So Travis Kelce plays next. You think Travis Kelce plays next year? Patrick Mahomes probably won't be back until the end of until either mid. I mean, with extra training, maybe he makes it back midway through the season, but most likely he's not going to make it back to the end of the season next year. Do the Chiefs even make the playoffs next year? And who is their quarterback? Do they go out with Gardner Minshew? Do they stick with Minshew, or do they even make the playoffs next year?
Yeah.
And if they don't, and if it's not looking like they're going to make the playoffs, does Travis Kelce still stick around even after that?
ACL is not as devastating as Achilles. So ACL is typically like a 9-month period. Patrick Mahomes got all the money in the world. He's the franchise. They're gonna do everything they can to get him back as soon as possible. So, being generous and say he gets 10 months, that puts you right at, late October. And they'll still be alive by then.
Okay.
Cleveland traveled to Chicago to take on the Bears. We both took Cleveland. Turns out Cleveland had their worst performance. Well, that's hard to say. Cleveland has a lot of bad performances, but this was one of their worst. Shedeur Sanders, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns, 177 yards through the air, and the Bears dominate the Browns 31-3.
Yeah, man. I feel like I stand by my statement that Shador has no receivers at all. Like you can't be a quarterback if you have nobody to throw to. And I promise you, besides Judy, who I don't consider a threat at all, I cannot name you one other Cleveland receiver.
Yeah, I don't know how they came into the season with that wide receiver room and thought this will work. Arizona traveled to Houston to take on the Texans. I took Arizona for the last time. You took Houston. Yeah, Arizona. They playing Arizona because Arizona is a very gutty team. But if you're gonna give them points, you got to give them double digit points. This is the second week in a row where they've been like hovering around 9.5. No, Arizona's a bad team, and I need you to give me like 14 points, and then I would feel comfortable taking them. Texans blow them
It,
out 40-20.
it, it amazes me your disdain and your hate for Arizona. I mean, mind you, because of a certain player, but how the tables have turned, how you stuck with them so much in the last few weeks.
No, I got. Yeah, no, it's no disdain for the Arizona Cardinals as a franchise. It's disdain for the Houston Texans, and that's more so because of a certain player. But no, Arizona. I've always enjoyed Arizona. It's just one player who I think is a bust. The next, Brashad Perriman or something. uh,
No.
the Baltimore Ravens traveled to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. We were both on Baltimore. Cincinnati went out there. They showed up, but they didn't play. 24-0. Cincinnati loses right after Joe Burrow came out there and said that he's kind of losing his passion for football.
Man, I it's been a rough patch for Joe Burrow, man. He came out on fire. I think he hit the league, and the league was everything you ever hoped and dreamed. And he hit his peak early, man. Like he hit his peak. They got to the Super Bowl. They were inches away from winning it, and it got snatched away from them. And ever since that moment, he's been hurt every season since that moment. So yeah, I can understand him reaching those heights only to be disappointed season after season, and maybe kind of lose the passion for it. I'm not even sure he should have returned this season because there was nothing waiting for you but disappointment in returning this season. Um, in order for him to get that passion back, to your point of what you said, he may need to find another team. The Bengals may want to consider um, finding another way because what you're doing right now is not working. I mean, I wouldn't let Joe Burrow go if I was a franchise, but if your star player is telling you he's not happy here, then you know maybe you do it anyway.
If only there was a team that could possibly win a Super Bowl if they slightly upgraded that quarterback. Well, anyway, hey, let's go to this game. The Detroit Lions travel to LA to take on the Rams. Oh wow, we were both on the Rams, and we all saw the game. We talked about the game. Rams defeat the Lions by a touchdown, covered the spread, and won.
Let's move on.
The Green Bay Packers traveled to Denver to take on the Broncos. Bad week. I took the Packers. You took the Broncos. Bad week for ACLs. Micah Parsons tears his ACL, I believe, in the fourth quarter, and the Broncos eke away with another win.
Another thing going around the league is injuries, man. What is going on with all these injuries? So Patrick Mahomes and Michael Parsons both tear their ACLs, and nobody. I don't think anybody touched them. I know for sure nobody touched Michael Parsons. I think I got to go back and watch the Patrick Mahomes play, but I know for sure nobody touched Michael Parsons. What is going on with all these injuries around the league? Is it just that people? Someone asked, are the players just too strong? And I also heard the doctor say that with the Michael Parsons thing, like his upper body was just too strong for his lower body, and it's just like, is it just they're not working out properly? Maybe if he had a little bit more leg strength, you know what I'm saying? People love to skip leg day. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if he had a little bit more leg strength, could he prevent this? Is it the field? Is it the grass? Is it the turf? Is it the training staff? What is going on with all these injuries, especially with the Lions?
The Lions is a totally different discussion. Other than Patrick Mahomes, is the I can't remember what I saw. God, I can't, but I saw that quote the other day. But I'll use it though. The rent was due. Michael Parsons missed time last year too, though. But Patrick Mahomes has been relatively unscathed his whole career, so just a part of the game. I told you my thoughts on the Lions and why they have so many injuries, but I don't think it's a epidemic that needs to be investigated quite yet. I feel like there's been more years where we've seen way more superstars hurt than this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the training, I feel like it is a part of the game. Guys are getting stronger. Guys are getting faster. But I also feel like if the NFL dedicated as much time and energy into the body training, the training core, the training staffs, preparations, preseason for these big long seasons that they're having, as they put into concussion protocol and making sure guys don't have concussion. If they invested that amount of money and research into it, they can prevent some of these injuries.
Tennessee Titans traveled to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. We were both on Tennessee, and when you believe in Tennessee, that's when they let you down. They didn't come anywhere close to covering that spread. They lose 24-30. Oh, my bad. I take that back. They were right there at covering the spread, but they were half a point away. They lose 24-37.
Here you go. Here you go. Oh, you got to be quicker than that.
Next up, Old Man Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts traveled to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Colts at home. I'm my bad. Colts on the road, and they were getting 12. God, this is in my way. They were getting 12. Oh, they were getting 13 and a half. You took Seattle. I took Indianapolis. Indianapolis loses by 2 and covers the spread. Philip Rivers still throws the ball just as horrendous as I remembered it. It was even worse than I remembered it, honestly.
I'm just surprised that he made it through the game, but he did enough to cover, which was more than I gave him credit for.
Next up, Your Carolina Panthers traveled to New Orleans to take on the Saints.
Yeah, not my Carolina Panthers.
Well, factually, you took the Carolina Panthers in this game. I took
I
the New
did.
Orleans Saints. Coming off of a bye, we compared these Carolina Panthers to the old Lions, and just like the old Lions coming off of a bye, they lose to the lowly Saints, 17-20.
Duh. I was going through all the scores, and I came across the Saints records. I was like, "Dang, the Saints only won 3 games." And my cousin chimed in and said, "Yeah, 2 of them was against us."
The Carolina Panthers, not only a great comeback story, but also one of the more charitable teams in the league. They give away wins.
I don't know. Maybe the Saints is just a bad matchup for the Panthers. I don't know.
Maybe it would seem so. And that was no Alvin Kamara too. That's crazy. Minnesota. Man, this is full bizarre right
We
here.
don't know what to do. We just can't beat them.
The Minnesota Vikings traveled to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. I bizarroed it up, took the Minnesota Vikings. You took the Dallas Cowboys. Minnesota pretty much dominated that game, 34-26. JJ McCarthy hasn't quite figured out a way to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, but he can pretty much get it to everybody else on that team, and did something with his legs. And the Vikings defeated the Cowboys.
I still don't have any faith in the Vikings, man. I feel like the Cowboys are just after the loss to us. I feel like they just gave up on the season and they just said it is what it is. And they might have went out there and phoned it in, like, hey, if we start winning, maybe we'll put some effort into it. If not, fuck it.
And the last game of the week was the Miami Dolphins travel to Pittsburgh. I took Miami. You took Pittsburgh. Uh, some fun facts that I got out of this game. The Pittsburgh Steelers won the game on Monday Night Football, and I think it was something like the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't lost a Monday Night Football game since like the 90s. There was another crazy stat too, but I can't remember what that was. But if the Steelers are playing on Monday Night Football, it's also stuff like that that throws me off, because if you tell me that the Steelers haven't lost since the 90s, then I say I could bet them because they haven't lost since then. But at the same time, I say, well, that means that they're due for a loss.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. Like, it's coming.
All right. So I said, hey, maybe if I just do the opposite of everything, I'll come out with a winning record. Turns out no. Actually, I split exactly even. So had I just picked them how I wanted to, I still would have ended up with the same record. Finished the week 8-8. You finished the week 6-10. That brings me to 95 and 114, and you are at 100 and 109.
Bad week. These teams keep letting me down, man.
Well, here's another week for you to get right, even though we are off to a rough start. I got my thing.
Got to talk about the game of the century. Oh, the game of all games, the best game to ever be played.
It wasn't that good of a game, but it was an entertaining game to watch. First game of the week, we had the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. When I presented this to you off camera, this game was a pick'em. At the kickoff, the Seahawks were favored by 1.5. Crazy that the Seahawks were favored by 1.5 and they won by 1. There's no way you could. They're one of two things. Either the people who create the point spread are just amazingly accurate, or there are some type of force that's controlling the game to make sure that the point spread stays on course. One of which was a 2-point conversion that I've never seen. Something in the NFL that I've never seen. It was a 2-point conversion attempt that ended in what everybody watching it thought was an incomplete pass. They come back and they say, hey, that wasn't an incomplete pass. It was actually a backwards pass that the defender batted up into the air, which essentially was a fumble. And Zach Charbonnet, as the ball was laying there on the ground in the end zone, picked up the football in the end zone and handed it back to the referee. And upon review, that was actually a successful 2-point conversion.
So, okay. So as much as I complain about the referees, I only have a problem with one part of this play. When I seen the highlight, it actually was a backwards pass. It was a backwards pass, which made it a fumble, which was which was essentially recovered in the end zone. So I think that part was right, but um, where I'm confused is for one, I'm not sure you can advance a fumble for a touchdown. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think you can advance a fumble for a touchdown. Or I mean, it's a 2-point conversion, so you would say a 2-point conversion. And two, by the time Chardonnay picked up the ball, I'm pretty sure everybody thought the play was dead by then. So at that point, had anybody blown the whistle, there's no way to be able to tell unless you were watching the game live. I didn't watch the game live, so I'm not sure. Do you know if the whistle had been blown or if you can advance the ball for a score?
You definitely can't advance the ball. You can't advance the ball on a fumble. I think the only thing that you could argue, and which might be the case, is the fact that that fumble was deflected in the air by a defender. So that might change the parameters of that. And as far as the whistle, I don't even. I was like half paying attention to that game, the whole game, but I will tell you that the commentators made it a point to point out that the whistle had never blown. But again, to your point, nobody was playing. Like the play was over for all intents and purposes on that field. And Zach Charbonnet, it's not like he dove on the ball and covered it up. Like he just picked it up so that they could all get off the field. So that was the most good Samaritan deed that paid off I've ever seen in my life.
uh, yeah, man, but it was a hectic game. Do you feel like did you agree with fumble? I mean, how did you feel about the play?
I mean, yeah, the way when you explain it like that, when they explained it all made sense. If you want to debate whether or not it was a lateral backwards pass, I would hear that debate. But all in all, I think they got it right. But yeah, I would need a little bit more explanation as towards the ball was picked up in the end zone and nobody was playing. Like that's the thing, nobody was playing. So it's like, yeah, you credit him for being you would try to credit him for being aware and having the wherewithal to pick that ball up in the end zone, but he didn't. He just did it just to pick it up and give it to the referee. So it was kind of fluky, but I'm not mad at it. If I was a Rams fan, I might feel a certain type of way, but all in all, it was an entertaining game, and it you texted me when I told you I was taking the Seahawks, and I just felt that being at home, the Rams just played a tough game against the Lions. Primetime football in Seattle, but the Rams should have won that game, and it took
should have won that game.
It took like you could play that game, 10 times over, and you'll never get that result again. I mean, it took 3 converted 2-point conversions and a punt return for a touchdown. And I'm sure there's some other things in there too. Kenneth Walker's had a down year this year. He had the best year of the season last night. So it was a lot of factors that attributed to the Seahawks playing essentially the perfect game. And Sam Darnold wasn't even great. He was barely.
Sam Darnold played terrible in that game, man. He was throwing picks.
He played terrible. He played terrible in the first half. In the second half, he played good. He did it just enough, and he didn't panic. He never panicked, even on that 2-point conversion. Like I said, 3 successful 2-point conversions is crazy, and they did it, especially on that last one. He was patient, waited for it to open up, and hit my man.
Yeah, man, and it's just no. I don't know. I was watching the highlights and I was like, man, there's no way that the Seahawks are going to win this game. The Rams offensive line, my guy Jared Verse, your guy Fitz, and a guy that just showed up out of the blue, Turner. I forgot
Yeah,
his first name.
I
He
did too.
had the game of the season. He had the game of the season. I think he had a interception. He had like 3 sacks. So I was like, man, who is this guy?
Yeah, he had a coming out party last week against us, and continued the momentum this week. All right, well, we got Sunday coming up. It's a big week for me in fantasy football. Final Four. I'm like the Pittsburgh Steelers of fantasy football. You know, I get to the dance every year. We never walk away with the championship, but I watched that game last night and I was hurt. I was going up against Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had a no show in the first half, and then by the end of the night, he had like 100 yards and like 10 catches. So he ended up showing up, and he caught a touchdown. And I picked up Parkinson, the tight end that torched us last week.
Right.
Yeah, that dude sucked. He had like 2 catches, and then he could have had 4, but he dropped both of those other 2. So Kobe Parkinson is made my list of hated players due to fantasy.
They
But I
they, they
digress.
moved
Huh.
they moved on to another tight end. Like the
Man, they
tight
was
end.
throwing them all the tight ends was getting the turn, and Kobe Parkinson was like not even a thought. He was an afterthought. The Rams throw the guys I've never even heard of in football.
Yeah. They have revolving tight ends over there. But yeah, and receivers.
Yeah,
It was guys catching the ball I never heard of too.
yeah, like
But yeah, man, as much passion and hate that you've gathered in your heart, as much as the dark side has gathered in you over fantasy football over the years, that is just how much I could care less about fantasy football.
um, you're missing out.
I'm not.
Matthew Stafford threw to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different receivers in that game. People like Xavier Smith. I can't pronounce his first name. Kanate Mumpfield, Davis Allen, Terrence Ferguson, Kobe Parkinson, Jordan Whittington. These
How
are
many how
all
many how many receivers do they have on their active roster?
good question. I mean, half of them are receivers, half of these guys are tight ends. All right. So first game of the week, we have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders. Commanders are at home. Commanders are at home and they're getting 6.5.
Uh, is it me or you this week? Me.
I believe
It's me.
it's you because I went Bizarro last week.
All right. Wait. Commanders are playing who?
Commanders are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Commanders getting
Oh,
6.5.
yeah. It's Philly all day. Philly is something going on with Philly. There's a toxicity in that locker room that is destroying that team from the inside in, but they can still manage to destroy bad teams.
I love the way Philly conducts their business, but you are right. There is something going on with Philly. They can beat really bad teams. Washington is just a bad team. They are truly modeled after their head coach and Dan Quinn. And that even though the season is over, they continue to play like the season just started. So I think with Marcus Mariota out there, they go out there and they give Philly a tough time. I think Philly wins, but barely. That's if they even win. Philly's kind of you're right. Philly's a mess right now. Green Green Bay is going to Chicago to take on the Bears. I got this all out of order. I believe that's a Sunday night football game, but Chicago is at home and they are getting one.
They are getting one. Man. Last week I would have for surely told you that Green Bay was going to win this game without a doubt. But the Packers lost Micah Parsons. They lost Tucker Craft. I'm hearing rumors that Christian Watson is going to be out. But with all that being said, that just makes the Green Bay Packers the the Packers of last year. And I think with that being said, I think they can still manage to beat the Bears. The Bears have been winning games, and a lot of people think that the Bears are a force to be reckoned with. Whereas I think the Bears are better than what I initially thought they were, but I still think that they're a product of their schedule, and I am going to roll with the Packers. Plus one is not a very big spread.
Not at all. I would say for your camp, Christian Watson is unlikely to play, but Jaden Reed has just gotten back from injury. This will be his third game back. He's had 2 good games since he's come back. And Jaden Reed has always been, in my opinion, the number 1 receiver on that team. This is a great opportunity for him to have a good game. But that being said, I also agree with your first point in that there's no Micah Parsons. So this is the Green Bay team that doesn't necessarily strike a lot of fear into me. Can Jordan Love go to Chicago in cold weather and take down the Bears? Probably, but I just would feel uneasy taking that. So, yeah, give me Chicago. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins at home, getting 4.5. Tua is going to be holding a clipboard. Quinn Ewers with the start.
Yeah, man. I know I said that the Bengals were giving up on the season. They were just phoning it in, but they still got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, and they are a better connection than with anything that the Dolphins have on the field right now. The Dolphins have been on a hot streak, but I feel like that is over with. So give me the Bengals.
Yeah. I can't I can't create a pathway that the Bengals don't win this game. Give me Cincinnati. Minnesota Vikings are traveling to New York to take on the Giants. Giants are at home. They are getting 3.
I'm actually going to take Minnesota in this game, man. The Vikings have been through a lot. They got a lot of injuries. I think they're just hanging on by a thread, man. I think a lot of these games have destroyed. Like at a certain point, you get to a point in the season where you're just playing just to get through the season. Uh, what's his name? Dang, why I can't think of his name right now?
Justin Jefferson?
No. Terry from he was on 97.1.
Oh, Foster.
Yeah, Terry Foster. Terry Foster used to say that he would go in the locker room. He says it now on Woodward. He said he'd go in the locker room and guys were checked out. They were planning their vacations. They were just waiting for the end of the seasons so they could, go on their cruises or whatnot. And I feel like that's where a lot of the teams are right now, especially the Giants. They got a lot of injuries. Their season ended a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like that's where they at. They on vacation. They're gone fishing already, and they on the field, but they in their heads going fishing. So, yeah, I feel like the Vikings still have some pride left. They're not there. Their season is over, but they're not there. So, give me the Vikings.
Yeah, Minnesota. If nothing else, I wrote JJ McCarthy off, and he's still trying to prove that he is an NFL quarterback. So if nothing else, he's out there fighting. Jackson Dart is also out there fighting, but we know Jackson Dart is the future of that franchise, at least for the next couple of years. So there's no reason. I mean, he's going to be out there fighting, but yeah, there's no reason for his team to back him up on it.
Yeah, he's alone.
The New York Jets are traveling to New Orleans. What a game to take on the Saints. The Saints are at home. They are giving 5.5.
I mean, this is a hard game to pick for all the wrong reasons. uh, I I think I'm gonna go with the Saints in this game. The Jets the Jets are the Jets are done, man. They don't have a quarterback. Like I said, the only people out there is Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. I think they've given up. So the Jets are done until next season. Um, so yeah, I'll take the Saints. The Saints might just be. It could be a fluke that the Saints just are able to beat the Panthers, but we'll see.
Saints giving 5.5 is criminal, but when you look at the competition in the New York Jets, I guess you could justify it. Yeah, give me the Saints. Kansas City is traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Tennessee is at home. They are getting 3.
I can't believe you're saying this, dog. But give me Tennessee, dog. Give me Tennessee. The Kansas City Chiefs have lost their leader, and they are demoralized right now. They're not going to come out. They're going to come out playing depressed, and as bad as the Titans are, they have their entire team intact.
If Kansas City loses to the Tennessee Titans, Andy Reid might as well just go ahead and call it a career. It's been a great career. I mean, they don't retire coaches, but he's gonna be welcome in Philadelphia and Kansas City. He'll never have to buy a meal in either of those towns. Yeah, give me Kansas City. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes isn't there, but everybody else is. And if y'all can't beat the Tennessee Titans, I mean, damn, y'all haven't won a game in like 4 weeks.
God, do not put your faith in Gardner Minshew.
Oh man, Gardner Minshew, it's quarterbacks, man. Justin Fields is one of them, but some quarterbacks, they can get you a game, especially against the Titans.
Yeah. Gardner Minshew will get you a game 8 weeks in.
The Buffalo Bills are traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Browns are at home and they are getting 10.5.
Damn. Wait, who they playing?
Buffalo.
Oh, damn. No wonder. Ooh. Yeah, I'm probably going to take Buffalo on that one. That's a lot of points, but still. Like I said, Shador doesn't have anybody to throw to. His coach doesn't like him. And the Browns defense hasn't been playing as good as they were projected to play. Myles Garrett has been getting the sacks, but that's about it. So, yeah, I think I got to take the Browns with the 10, man. I mean the Buffalo with the 10.
Yeah, give me Buffalo. To your point, the Browns defense might as well be the Raiders defense. There is one person out there that you have to account for, and he's still gonna make an impact. But still, outside of that, and yeah, you're right. The Browns need a wide receiver. Unfortunately, they're probably going to draft a wide receiver and call it a day. I don't think that's what they should do. You can draft one. I'm not opposed to drafting a wide receiver, but you definitely need to get whoever the best wide receiver is available in free agency as well.
Duh, they should be tanking right now in order to. Well, you don't have to get a wide receiver high, I don't guess, because they're going to be some available. But I mean, if you want the best wide receiver in the class, I don't know how that worked out for Arizona, but
You
yeah,
know
I
me,
don't know.
you know me, man. I'm never taking a wide receiver in the first round. So yeah, you could wide receivers are all throughout the draft. So yeah, if you want to draft one, that's fine. But don't say you drafted one and saying, "Oh, well, we're good now." You know, don't do the Green Bay Packers and take Matthew Golden and say, "Hey, we just drafted a first round wide receiver. We don't need wide receivers anymore."
Who? Wait, is that guy still in the league?
The LA Chargers are traveling to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Dallas at home, they are giving two.
Like I said, man, I feel like Dallas is checked out. I don't think that they have any fight left in them for the season, and they're all prepared for next season. So yeah, I take the Chargers.
You are probably right. Every time I doubt the Chargers, they come through with a win, but I just feel like they're holding on by a thread, and at some point, it's gonna snap. So yeah, give me Dallas. Tampa Bay is traveling to your Carolina Panthers. Panthers at home getting three.
Oh, uh, this is a tough one for me, man.
This is a tough one.
I was all set to say that the Buccaneers were going to win this game. Um, and after the way Todd Bowles looked last week, I feel like he went in there and they got some work done this week, and I don't know if he set them straight. So what I'll say is the Panthers have been playing good, man. So what I'll say is I think that I'll take the Panthers with the three. I'll take the Panthers to cover, but I think Tampa Bay is going to win.
I agree with you that this is a very tough game to pick. I I'm actually the exact opposite on you on every front. I was fully prepared to take the Carolina Panthers at home. I looked at the Todd Bowles situation and thought that this is a team that is slowly falling apart. My the final thing that tipped me to my pick was that a couple weeks ago you asked me who I thought would win the division, Carolina or Tampa Bay, and I said I think at the end of the day I think Tampa Bay wins it. Uh, this type of thought process usually turns around and bites me, and I feel like it will here. So Carolina probably will end up winning this game, but that being said, to hell with it. I'm gonna stick with my pick, and I'm gonna take Tampa Bay.
We were definitely the complete opposite on that.
Like I said, this is me doubling down on my pick, and that never works out for me. So Carolina's probably gonna win this game. Jacksonville Jaguars are traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Broncos are at home. They are giving three.
The Jacksonville's easy schedule is over with. They finally facing a real competitor, and the Broncos will come out and show the world who the Jacksonville really are. I think people forget after playing a couple of easy teams, people forget who teams really are.
Patrick Surtain was injured at the beginning of the year. He's thus come back, and so has Denver's defense. This is the Denver from last year that I fell in love with, and they are riding hot. I don't think Jacksonville is going to derail them, especially at home. So, yeah, I'm with you. Give me Denver. Atlanta is traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals.
Oh my god, who's
Cardinals
making these games?
Cardinals are at home and they are getting three.
Um, I am going to take Atlanta, even though this game is sorry as hell and it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take Atlanta. Atlanta has players I can name, and the Cardinals don't.
I've taken Arizona and I've taken Arizona and I've taken Arizona. And every time I've taken Arizona, they have turned around and smacked me in the face. I mean, it's only so many times I could let somebody slap me in the face before I realize that I am the problem.
If it
Give
was a
me,
player in your fantasy league, you would have been gave up on them. Not only would you have given up on them by now, but you would have scored never to root for them for all time.
yeah. But if ever there was an opportunity for Arizona to go out there and get a win, this would be the game. But I don't care. I am sticking to my guns. Arizona needs double-digit points in order for me to take them. That's what they deserve. And Vegas refuses to give me that because they don't want me picking Arizona ever again. So yeah, give me Atlanta. Uh,
The Bijan Robinsons.
our game of the week: Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Lions are at home. They are giving 7.
I'm gonna take the Lions, man. Aaron Rodgers. Um, I said it before. He's got that wrapped up hand, and in order to go out there and win that game last week, he went out and threw 6-inch passes all game long, and I think that our linebackers will be able to stay on top of that. And if our offense resembles anything of the way it's been looking, uh, up up going upwards the last couple of weeks, uh, the Steelers can't score with us.
Aaron Rodgers coming in has an opportunity to spoil the season for the Detroit Lions. But that being said, I totally agree with you. While Aaron Rodgers is still a competent quarterback and he can still get it done out there, to your point, if the Detroit Lions offense shows up, there's no way that Aaron Rodgers can match the points that the Lions offense can put up. Also, TJ Watt is out for this game. There's no reason why the Detroit Lions shouldn't have a field day against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Detroit. Las Vegas Raiders are traveling to
The other team,
are traveling to Houston to take on the Texans.
Houston,
Texans are at home. They are giving 14.
to Houston. Give me the 14. Hey, how about this? If they were given 17, I would still take Houston. Matter of
God,
fact, I'll take Houston plus 17.
it as much as it pains me to say, man, I don't know who's starting at quarterback for the Raiders. They benched Geno Smith last week. It didn't work out. And now they're talking about Geno Smith might start for this game. The Raiders are, I don't know how, the Raiders, the Titans, the Browns, like at some point, these teams should be like suspended from playing football in the National Football League for a season based on these performances. Yeah, give me the Texans.
The Texans plus 17 and a half. Give me the half too.
They should allow the Browns, Raiders, and Titans to combine to form one team.
They should make them play in the JV league for a year. They should make a JV league and only certain.
They should. Yeah, I'm sure I could find one more team to put in there that's been got off for this year.
The Saints.
You could put the Saints. You could put Miami. There's candidates. There's definitely candidates. All right, final 2 games of the week. The New England Patriots are traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Ravens are at home. They are giving 3.
The Ravens are giving 3?
That's what I said. Yep. The Ravens are giving 3.
Oh, I'll take that all day. I actually think the Patriots are gonna win this game. But they're giving 3. I might actually bet on that.
My thoughts were, yeah, when I was typing the spread out, I said, oh yeah, the Ravens, I'm sure they're getting 3, but no, they are giving 3. But then I stopped and I thought about it and I said, well, um, can't can't overlook Vegas, can't overlook the referees.
You're
But
right.
at the same time, it is a primetime game, Sunday Night Football. So this is an opportunity for Lamar to prove the doubters, like myself, prove the doubters that he can, that he hasn't, that the Ravens aren't dead. I guess is the best way to put it. So I feel like everything is encouraging me to take the Ravens. So I will take the Ravens.
Yeah, man. I'm almost there with you. I'm gonna stick with my pick because the smart pick is just to stick with the Patriots. But I will say this: the only thing that gives me pause about my pick is the Ravens do need this game, and Lamar's back is against the wall, and the Ravens do know how to make the playoffs. So I'm gonna stick with my pick, but I may be wrong. I won't be surprised if I'm wrong.
Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. The San Francisco 49ers are traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Colts are at home. They are getting 6.
Man, come on, man. The Colts don't even have a real quarterback. Uh, Give me the 49ers because Grandpa is gonna throw his hip out this game.
The San Francisco 49ers are the best kept secret in the NFL right now. They talked about them during the game last night. Nobody's talking about the 49ers, but with that LA Rams loss, the 49ers have a pathway to where they could be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and be the division winner, or be both.
Tell me this, Marcus. Has anybody but Christian McCaffrey made any plays for the San Francisco 49ers?
Uh, they're relatively they're relatively healthy. They of course you got George Kittle, um,
Haven't
Brock
heard his
Purdy.
name all season.
Oh no, Kittle been doing his thing. Brock Purdy's been playing better. He threw 3 touchdowns last week, and then they're taking. I mean, they had Ayuk, which Ayuk to me is in the same category as Christian Watson, honestly. But the 49ers take the Green Bay Packers approach with wide receivers. They have a bunch of guys that are good, not great. Juwan Jennings is a very good wide receiver. Ricky Pearsall is a player they drafted last year. Got shot, so he got he got a late start to the season, but he's having a good year. And yeah, Christian McCaffrey has remained healthy all season. So and their defense always plays good defense. They got Robert Saleh back. So San Francisco is honestly right where they like to be at, and nobody's really talking about them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I feel like San Francisco is a good team, man. They're right they're right under above average. I mean, they're right above average. They're like right there. Like if you want to say above average, they just barely cut it.
San Francisco is a team that I would put a class above the Chicago Bears, where I think the Chicago Bears are a good team. I don't think the 49ers are a great team, but they're like a step above. So they're I guess I would put that I'm trying to think about it on the fly, but it's almost like I would kind of put them in the same class as the Lions, honestly.
I will
Would I?
put them right above the Panthers because I think they got to play the Panthers. I think they'll beat the Panthers.
It's like, see, I wouldn't put them with the Panthers, because if you told me that the Lions are their first round matchup is playing the Panthers, I'd be like, oh, the Lions should win that game. But if you told me the Lions first round matchup was like the 49ers, I wouldn't feel great about that game. I'm not saying they couldn't win, but at the same time, I wouldn't feel nearly as comfortable with that game as I would the Panthers or the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Yeah, I will put the 49ers over both of those teams right now.
Those are our picks for the week.
But I still think the Lions could beat the 49ers.
I think the Lions could beat the 49ers, but I also think the 49ers could beat the Lions.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I agree with that as well. But yeah, man. We got our picks in. We talked about the referees. You got anything that you want to say about the Pistons real quick, man? We still leading the East, even though we didn't win that punk ass cup. Dog. I walked into an interview where the Knicks had won the cup, and they held this cup in the air, and they gave these niggas hats and shirts that said champions on it. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? What championship did they win?
Dog, you late to the party, man. This is the third year of the NBA Cup. And the NBA Cup is the most convoluted in season. The name is right there in the name. It's an in season championship, in season tournament. Somebody asked me how I felt. My boy asked me how I felt about the NBA Cup, and I told him this. I told him it's going to sound hypocritical, but this is how I feel. If the Pistons won the NBA Cup, I would celebrate it, and I would be extremely happy. But if it's not my team that wins it, I think it's the dumbest thing ever. And the reason I say that is because it is an opportunity for fringe championship teams to win something, some type of title, to win something. And if you win it, that means that you are a fringe championship team. And that's pretty much the end of it. The previous winners have been the LA Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks, and now the New York Knicks. So if the Pistons won it, that would mean that they had opportunity to win something, and they were the best of the league at that point in time. And therefore, they are a championship. They're a fringe championship team. Ironically, they lost 2 games in a row in the NBA Cup, which gives me pause on getting fully aboard, them being the number 1 seed. They played Dallas last night, who Dallas has a bad record, but Dallas with Anthony Davis is a totally different team, and Anthony Davis did play last night. They still don't have Kyrie Irving, but the Pistons lost that game as well. I told you that I wouldn't make any definitive statements about the Pistons until this little stretch right here, going into the new year. They have the Lakers on their schedule. They have the Clippers, who James Harden is out right now. So if James Harden doesn't play, they should win that game, honestly, because James Harden is playing out of his mind at the age of like 36. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, man, I'm really interested to see how they do on this West Coast road trip.
Yeah, as far as the cup goes, man, I could care less if my team won it or not, man. I told my cousins yesterday, Bronson was standing there with a NBA Cup champion shirt on. I said, man, I ought to be standing there in my uniform. It means nothing. I said, did the team they beat, are they out of the playoffs now? They said, no, they're still in the playoffs. Then what did it matter? What did any of this matter? I have no respect for the NBA Cup, but whatever. The NBA needed viewership, and I knew they needed to make something up. We could go out and play the Marcus Bruce Bowl out in our backyards, and it would be the same exact thing as the NBA Cup does. But because in the future, in 2039, is anybody going to be like, hey, back in 2025, who won the NBA Finals? And you say Boston. And they're going to be like, oh, man, who won the cup that year? No one's saying that. No one's going to say that. But anyway, as far as the Pistons go, Yeah, they lost to Milwaukee to the Mavericks last night, and uh, I don't want to make excuses for them. The Mavericks did have way more uh, free throws. I heard it was like 24-7 free throws. Um, I was watching I was watching some of the plays, and the referees just weren't calling anything for the Pistons. I saw a clear and blatant charge that the Mavs did on the Pistons. My man knocked dude right over it, and the referee just looked at him like, "Get up, nigga." So uh, I'm like I said, I don't want to make excuses, but it just seemed to me like Asar got thrown out in the second quarter. And I don't want to say he was the key to that game, but one thing that I did notice in watching the highlights, because I didn't watch the actual game, was that it was a close game when Asar was in. It was essentially, going up and down. The Mavs still had the lead, but it was like a 7 point difference. And as soon as Asar left that game, it went up to like a 20 point difference. And the Pistons didn't whittle it back down to almost the end of the fourth quarter, where they essentially lost the game. So, not to say that everything I just said was the reason they lost the game, but once again, it affected the game.
So the Pistons have lost. The Pistons lost that first game against Chicago, which I was irate about. Since then, Chicago has fallen to the 10th seed in the East. They also lost to Cleveland, who is a perennial playoff team. They lost to the Boston Celtics in the NBA Cup, and they lost to the Orlando Magic in the NBA Cup, and they lost to Milwaukee, which they shouldn't have lost that game. And then Dallas was the last loss that they had. Wow, which I turned that game off, and I didn't know they came all the way back and took it to overtime because they were down by like almost 20 when I turned it off.
Yeah, they came back. They came back.
I just wrote the game off. I have to look at them. I have to watch the highlights. But that being said, man, like I said, I can't make any definitive declarations on the Pistons until I pull their schedule back up. It's actually not December. It's the month of January, pretty much. Like it starts at the end of December. December 28th, they're going to LA. They're taking the Clippers on the 28th. And then they got a national game on Peacock and NBC against the LA Lakers on the 30th. That'll be a good game to watch. And then they play Miami, who's a playoff team. Cleveland again, a playoff team. New York, playoff team. Chicago. They play the Clippers again. Like I said, with James Harden, they're a playoff team. Without James Harden, they are sorry. Then you got the Phoenix Suns, a playoff team. Indiana, sorry. Got Boston, New Orleans. Houston is a playoff team. Sacramento could give the Pistons fits. Then you play Denver, Phoenix, Golden State, and that's all in the month of January. So that schedule is totally different from what they played so far. I mean, you look at it, they've played Cleveland and they've played Orlando and they've played Boston, and they've done pretty well in that little stretch. But outside of that, man, they've played like Memphis, who's a sorry team, Utah, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Washington, Indiana, Atlanta without Trae Young. Like they've honestly had the easiest schedule that I've seen. So credit to them for taking advantage of their schedule, but it's just hard for me to say because they haven't really played anybody. And I know you said you don't care for the NBA Cup, but that is an opportunity where theoretically players are going to be playing quote unquote harder, and it's national game. So, that was kind of the opportunity to that's why I said if they won, I would have celebrated it. But that was the opportunity to show that in a high stakes game, they could win.
Well, let me clarify. It's not the competition or the tournament that I have a problem with. It's the the celebrating it like it's a championship, or I mean, like that stretch of games. I don't have a problem with that stretch of games. If it wasn't they didn't give out shirts and T-shirts and trophies and championships with it, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. I just don't think it has any value as a championship. I don't think. I think that the like if it meant something, like if like when it was first presented to me, I thought it was a tournament in which teams who were fighting for that last spot in the playoffs were fighting for no position in the playoff run, and that felt like it had more value than you making up some fake ass trophy and saying that these guys are champions because they're not champions. The I can't even who won last year.
Well, the Thunder, but it'll be whoever
Yeah,
wins the championship this year.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Thunder are the championship. So if the Thunder are the championship, what's the point of the cup? So yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I don't want to. I don't want to make it seem like I don't think it has value. So I understand what you're saying about you're playing valuable teams, but I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It's like I said, the only reason I think the cup is stupid, but at the same time, the point of the cup is honestly to pull out competition mid-season. What you were describing, there actually is one. That's the play-in tournament. So now it used to be the top 8 teams in each conference go to the playoffs. Now the top 10 teams, not essentially the top 10, the top 10 teams in each conference technically make the playoffs. And the first round of games is a knockout round where the 10 seed plays the 9 seed and the 8 seed plays the 7 seed. And then whoever loses between the 7 and 8 matchup has to play the winner of the 9 and 10 matchup. And whoever wins that game, they're in and everybody else is out. Which that's stupid too, because I think the Miami Heat were a team that made it from like the 9th or 10th spot and they made it to the finals. But other than that, I mean, you're not going to make it very far if you're the 10th seed in a conference. But, you know, anything they can do to stir up some type of interest, like you said.
I just feel like that has more value than a fake cup. But you know, it is what it is. I don't think they're. Once again, I'm not a fan of the new basketball. I think the old basketball was just fine the way it was. But hey, who am I but some old man yelling at kids on the grass? But that's all I got for today's episode, man. And with that, we can get into we can see who was right about our scores, and we will holler at you guys next week. Till then, peace.